Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring. This is episode 233, and it is going to be the best episode ever. We have lots of news to get to. Overwatch League is changing up their format again, so we'll get to that. CDL Chicago just finished moments before recording, so we have opinions and thoughts hot off the presses, and of course, we have Yikes of the Week to start off everyone's favorite segment. But before we get to any of it, we got to let you know that the Center Ring is presented by Alt. Alt is the number one and number two and number three. They're all of it. They are the best esports apparel company out there. They actually just released earlier today a fresh new limited edition drop, the Chicago Huntsman Goat Tee. It is quite fresh looking, as the kids say. We actually are teaming up with them to do a giveaway. So go to our Twitter at the Center Ring. All you have to do is follow us at Ultimate and retweet. It's simple as that. Then you can have a chance to win this limited edition CDL Chicago Huntsman piece. It is very clean. If you are a fan, you will definitely appreciate it. So go to our Twitter, check that out. That is from Alt. They are sponsoring the show. That's how things work around here. Got anything else, Anuj?
No, that was beautiful, man. That was great.
I appreciate it.
That goatee is sick. That is like a clean goatee, number 23, Chicago branded. It looks great.
But not for anything in particular, just the number 23.
No, just number 23. No relation to the city of Chicago, other than the Huntsman, obviously.
There's no connection there whatsoever.
No.
Excellent. So again, at Ultimate on Twitter, check it out, and sign up for the giveaway at the Center Ring.
Hi, I'm Hungrybox, and you're listening to TCR.
I also forgot to change that. Let me change it real quick. Hold up. We'll redo the intro. I don't care. Actually, I can edit right to that point, but I can't not have a Crim 6 liner in here when they kind of want it.
I agree.
We'll go with Clayster. We'll go with my boy. All right.
Hey, this is James Clayster Eubanks, and you're listening to the Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Center Ring. If you're tuning in live, you get to see all the fun airs that we make. But if you're listening to the podcast, you get to listen to the clean, edited version, air-free. So if there's any incentive to ever tune in to the live shows recorded the night before, there you go. Because it's amazing we can be 233 episodes in, and yet I still screw up the intro. Like, I know it. It's just, it's just how life works, I guess.
Would you say the biggest issue we had was the Blue interview?
So the Blue interview, it could have been a computer error, or I could have forgot to hit record midway through. One of the two.
Like, we were probably about 70% of the way through the interview.
I mean, that one was only big because you couldn't do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's what makes it big. And
right,
the situation made that big.
But I know that we have also had audio issues since then too, though, where it's like we record and then the audio is just scuffed for whatever reason. Yeah, and that's not my error. The Blue and other things are always my user error, because like I'm trying to do the intro but also like push buttons at the same time, so it screws up. But anyone who has in the audio business just knows sometimes the audio gets scuffed and no rhyme or reason, right? I mean, I'm sure you've picked up on that, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
Anuj, your mic sounds like crap.
Off,
yeah,
turn it back on and everything works, or everything's messed up.
Exactly.
Never know.
Look, the podcast industry is one Windows update away from just crumbling, because it seems like every time there's a Windows update, it just decides to ruin every presetting I had for audio balancing and everything. So, that's just the way it works, though. But that, again, it won't stop this from being the #1 esports podcast because we persevere. That's what we do here. We don't take any days off. So you have that for you. In case you do skip the intro, though, which I don't blame you because I also skip ad reads. But this was also a good ad read because we are doing a giveaway. So follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. You follow us and at Ultimate. You retweet the tweet for the giveaway, and we are giving away a limited edition Chicago Huntsman GOAT tee. So it's got the number 23 on it, no relation with Chicago Huntsman. You can choose what style you want, the size, anything like that. The giveaway is going on for only a couple days because then we got to get it to Alt to know what style and size you want. So go and do that now. It was
nice of them to make a GOAT tee after the podcast,
Yeah.
Like that was sweet of them. Like,
yeah.
We appreciate it. We know it's like, obviously they want to keep pushing us out there, But it was cool to have a GOAT tee made after strictly purely the podcast. Again, no relation whatsoever to anyone important in Chicago.
No, not at all. So you can do that at the Center Ring. And I know we have a lot of people in Chicago listen. We have just in general a lot of Huntsman fans that listen. So there you go. Congratulations, Hex. Somehow you weaseled your way into me doing a giveaway for you. But also shout out to Alt for literally making an F tier branding in the Chicago Huntsman look S tier.
That is true.
Like,
that is true.
If Chicago just took the font that Alt used and had that style, it would look 1,000 times better than what they got going now.
They would have moved up on our branding episode a couple of notches.
Easily. So you can now get this limited edition shirt, though, for free. Compliments of Alt and the Center Ring. So check that out on Twitter. And then, of course, our Discord, TCR, or our website, tcr.gg, has got links to all our Discord there. Always active in that. We have a good chat going on. We have this kind of randomly going, spontaneous Valorant Pug Night going every weekend, it seems now. We have a lot of listeners that have access. So if you have Valorant and you want to just, mess around on Pug Nights, hit us up. It typically seems to be Friday night where we get enough people on and we just run private rooms and it's a lot of fun. If you're like, but Tim, I suck. Dude, don't let that stop you. The skill is all over the place. We have people that are really good. We have people that are not so good.
Playing for the first time.
Yeah.
Like it's literally all over the place. So there's room for anyone.
One game I'll get 5 kills. The next game I'll top frag. That is kind of where I'm at with Valorant right now. I don't know. I feel like maybe I need a warm up. I have no idea, but we're getting there. I'm getting a little dangerous with each game. With each game, I'm getting a little bit more dangerous. I'm figuring out. I think I figured out what my issue is, and it's the way the crosshair works with the recoil compared to Counter-Strike.
It does. It's like similar in style of recoil, but like very different at the same time.
Yeah, well, and I think it's like the crosshair kind of like waves along in Valorant, right? Where CSGO, it's a little bit more jerky, I guess. So I don't know.
With Valorant, the recoil at the end of the pattern is sporadic. It goes in the same direction ultimately, but the bullets don't go in the same place. So it does like throw you off towards the end. Usually if you're spraying past like 10 bullets, you should stop shooting and then like let it reset.
Yeah, but I'm getting there. I'm getting a little dangerous. Like, I top fragged in one of the games on community night, so I'm feeling good about myself.
I feel like I peaked too early. This is like not a good thing. Before ranked comes out, I could see it all just falling apart.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so ranked comes out this week, so everyone's got to let us know where your rank is at just so we have a better idea. I know we got to figure out a night that we can play together then.
Yeah, no, for sure. Ranked will be fun.
Because I would rather drag you down if I'm a lower rank, and then that way we can at least play together. Because what would suck is that if all of a sudden I get shafted, or even you, right? Like, you never know. Maybe you just have 2 awful game or placements are bad.
You have to play 20 games.
Oh
in order
my!
to get into ranked.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
20 games.
Yeah.
Valorant 2 might be out by the time I get in 20 games. Oh,
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
20 games. That is a lot, especially when a game can last about an hour if it goes all the way. All right, well, boy, we'll have to, yeah, we really will have to like schedule it out and tell the missus, like, hey, this is for the show.
I gotta play 20 tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Dude, I don't even know if I could play 20. I don't know. Mentally, I'm not there yet anymore.
No way.
I'm too old, and a child will defeat me mentally. I can't do it. Can't do it. Anyways, let's get into the show, though. Enough about being boomers and not being able to play 20 matches in one day anymore. Let's talk some yikes of the week. I'll start with my yikes here, Anuj. And this is simply, I don't know if yikes might be the wrong word. It's my call for help of the week. Because I'm putting it out there to Twitch. You guys were the best. Everyone loves you. You could do no wrong. You got the world of esports and gaming in the palm of your hands. You control what is popular. You make careers, you break careers. You are the standard when it comes to streaming. So Twitch, from me to you, what the hell is going on? The site is getting overran by bot streamers, Anuj. Have you noticed this lately?
It like we brought this up maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago. We talked about this, and it's gotten worse. Like the top 3 to 5 streamers at any given time. There was a double simple stream on the other day. 2 simples streaming, both fake, both bots, going at the same time. There was a Stewie retirement stream giveaway going on, I believe, yesterday or maybe this morning, if I'm not mistaken. Like it wasn't that long ago, so times are all getting blurred. But in the last 24 hours, there's been a Stewie retirement stream. Click here for a giveaway, and it had like a full, tweet long kind of message or retirement message out there. It's ridiculous. I mean, dude, you could have interns watching these pages. You could have volunteers at this point. There's enough people tweeting at you for you to have awareness over the fake streams. I don't get it, man. Like Twitch is, to me, letting too much shit slip. Like
It's
you start talking about
my
Alinity
favorite.
also.
My favorite out of all the CSGO bots. And it's not even just in CSGO anymore. Because like Valorant is a joke. That
The
whole
worst.
you have people running VODs, and the title says 24/7 VOD drops here. And it's just people that are running, it's no joke, VODs. It's not live, it's not them playing, it's just VODs running it all day. And like Summit is making fun of it. Like bigger streamers are joking about it now because it's a joke. And you
It's
have these
supposed to be a
guys.
live streaming platform.
Yeah. If I wanted YouTube, I'd go to YouTube. If I wanted VODs, I'd go to YouTube. If I wanted Russian bots trying to scam me, I would go to YouTube Gaming, because that's all that ever is too. The thing is like with these Valorant streams too, they're having like over 100,000 views, which I think also tells you that, and even I think Summit knew, like when he was getting like 300,000, 200,000, like most of that were bots, right? At this point, I think we've learned. But you cannot tell me that this dude, I don't even know the name of his stream. I won't even say it on the show. This dude streaming a 24/7 VOD is getting 120,000 viewers.
Like,
legit.
No way.
That's
No
not
way.
it's not possible. That's a bot. He has bot viewership, and Twitch should be pretty damn easy for you to figure out that it's being view botted, and you stop it. Like your whole structure of the site that it was built on. Like my favorite above all is on Counter-Strike when there's a Shroud stream. Shroud, the guy who left Twitch to go sign with Mixer and now streams exclusively on Mixer, will also have some scam stream on Twitch.
I'm gonna rename my next stream title to Ninja Live. And just make it like a ninja stream. Like it's getting ridiculous with Twitch. Like I understand they're a big company and they probably have a lot going on, but you're talking about titles that are consistently in the top 1 to 5 of viewership at any given point. Like your eyes should be there, right? It's not like these are happening in um games that have low viewership and there's a bunch of VODs up. Like maybe they wouldn't notice, right? If it's a no-name title. This is happening in your biggest titles on your platform right now, and you're letting it slide. And it's happening with the VODs, it's happening with the fake streams going on. And then even like the whole Alinity situation, like the streamer came back up. She's the one that threw her cat, for those of you that don't know, like threw her cat live on stream, basically over her head, and chunked it. And then the other day she showed a nipple, like straight up lifted her shirt with accidentally
Oh, okay.
lifted her shirt and the full boob was right there. And it's like she didn't get banned for it. And now she did after all the backlash finally, but it took several days where
That's the issue though, is like we all know half of Twitch employees are just a bunch of admins sitting in a dark room jerking it to the latest titty streamer that made them an admin on their channel.
yeah, it's bad all the way around. I mean, for me, if they don't get it right, you kind of hope like a Mixer or YouTube would take advantage of this, right? And show off some quality content on on your site. Maybe they can find a way to maybe that makes Twitch better by doing some of this stuff. But right now they're so big and it's bothering me that this is not going to hurt them, right? We just want it to be fixed.
Yeah,
to be
it's
better
not going to
for
hurt.
us.
It's not going to affect anything, and that's part of the issue, right? Is that like you still have people who might actually be going to these streams thinking that they are legit, right? Maybe the 30,000 people watching a simple bot, maybe 2,000 of them are legit. But that's 2,000 people that are about to either get scammed or that you don't want being scammed. And there's some of that responsibility falls on Twitch because it's pretty fucking obvious that these are bots. Like, people are constantly tweeting at you to do it. It's kind of a joke at this point.
They see it, they're ignoring. So I think that's why it's frustrating.
This is
It's just
why,
they're
though,
ignoring the issue.
when people try to... I'm done listening to people about view counts at this point. I'm done. Don't try to brag about view counts. Don't try to tell me anything, because if you're telling me a 24/7 VOD can have 120,000 actual people watching him, then I give up on Twitch. I don't understand what the kids want.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, this was an easy yikes. Like it's kind of been lingering around, and we've brought it up. It felt like this weekend it just went overboard with bullshit. Like it was just so much. So definitely an easy yikes. Tim, for me, my yikes is a new contender has entered the ring for a yikes of the week. And HyperX, welcome to the family. They did something this past week which triggered a lot of people, including myself. They had a tweet that came out, and I'll just quote the tweet. It said, "Which gaming house would you be in?" And it had 4 different gaming houses with a list of like 6 titles basically under each house. And just to give you an example of one of the houses, house 1 was Fortnite, World of Warcraft, Tekken, Animal Crossing, Arena of Valor, and NBA 2K. And as you can imagine, then every other house also had a list of really popular big name titles. Well, Tim, I started looking through this because I wanted to participate. Like I wanted to pick my house. I started thinking about it. Like, man, which house would I choose if I could only like play?
This is how you know we've been in
games.
quarantine for too long, when you're actually stopping down to be like, I gotta put some thought
I
in
was
this.
breaking it down. I was going through each one, and I was like, okay, house 2. Oh man,
I'm gonna bring this up on the show. This is great.
I was like, Call of Duty, Final Fantasy 7 remake, like FIFA. These are games I could like play for a long time. I was like, let me see what is Counter-Strike in? Like, where's my baby at? Let me just find out what house it's in and see what they paired it up with, because they probably put it with some shit games, right? Just to make it fair. Started going to house 3, nothing. I was like, well, maybe house 4 is gonna have Valorant and Counter-Strike in it. Like that seems like the obvious pick. So let's go to house 4. No, not there either. They completely left Counter-Strike in hell. For the sake of the argument, they left Valorant off of these lists, and I don't understand. Like that
Considering they sponsor like 90% of the Counter-Strike teams.
Every Counter-Strike pro is wearing a HyperX headset, and you're right, they are like major sponsors for most of the big, if it's not them, it's Logitech, right? It's kind of like one or the other for the
Right.
most part. And they completely
R.I.P.
let
SteelSeries.
Counter-Strike.
The original Counter-Strike brand.
Yeah, I mean, they left Counter-Strike and Valorant off the list. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And so for that, I'm throwing them in yikes because you can't tell me which gaming house to choose and not have the number one FPS title in your freaking choices. I don't get it.
That's we're running out of things to talk about in quarantine. It's between the pick 3 or 4 crap and big wig esports talking heads getting upset over jersey numbers on esports jerseys. That's how you know we're running out of ideas.
Conversation in itself. I
Like,
saw that tweet that you're talking about.
We talked about it in the Discord. I was like, I cannot believe it was like Monte Carlo
And
Tommy, a few other people.
Tommy's the one that like started this whole thing saying, "Oh, why do we have numbers on jerseys?" And then it kind of snowballed from there. I was like, this has become a real discussion.
Yeah, like this was a throwaway tweet that you are actually debating with people on. Who cares? Who cares? I can't believe we're debating whether a jersey in esports should have a number or not. Who cares what the teams, whether it be a sponsor, a jersey number, whatever. Who cares? If it's a good looking jersey, I really don't care. I really,
I mean, I don't mind the numbers. Like,
I don't. I've never thought, like, I never saw the jerseys and thought, but we don't need
honestly,
numbers
like,
in
esports. That's players' like favorite number, and that's like their number. And you buy a player jersey, like, okay, like if it doesn't have a number, it doesn't bother me either. Like, I'm not saying I care either way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't affect me as much as like
they were acting like Monty was acting emotionally upset about it. Like he was like, huh, welcome to my crusade of trying to reason with logic in esports. Good luck. Like, Monty, why do you care?
Get, like, jersey material sucks. That's the one thing I'll agree with if we're talking about like jerseys.
The sweat wicking material, it might work for some people. Not this guy, Anuj.
There's no way.
Not this guy.
There's no way it can work for most people. It's like
they smell after about 45 minutes.
Give me a good cotton shirt. Throw in maybe a little 20% polyester mix into it, you know, and I'll be okay. I don't need this sweat retaining piece of shit feeling jersey on my skin for more than like 2 hours at a time before I feel like my deodorant, which is supposed to last 24 hours according to the label, is like somehow not effective after 1 hour of sitting in a gaming chair.
The jersey material, for whatever reason, why it was chosen to be the jersey material of esports does not make sense. I think FaZe Clan, didn't they just have like a black t-shirt for a while? Or at least it looked like a black t-shirt.
No, they had a black tee as a jersey. It had like the FaZe logo
on the
like
shoulders and stuff. I mean, it wasn't good looking.
Get me a t-shirt any day of the week.
Whenever TCR has a jersey, it'll just be a t-shirt. You have my word.
Yeah.
You have my word.
That way we can charge $20 for it instead of 60 or 80
70,
or whatever,
$80, whatever they got going on. But no, that was the conversation. Saturday was the hot topic in esports was, should jerseys have numbers? Not Overwatch League, not CDL, not Rocket League Spring Series. No.
Not Road to Rio.
Not the qualifiers. Nothing.
By the way, Tommy is the worst follow on Twitter. So do yourself a favor. Don't follow him. All he talks about is how much he hates Tesla. That's it. 95% of his tweets talks about Elon Musk and Tesla being a scam company.
Hasn't he? 95%. He's normally arguing about something on Twitter too, though, isn't he? Like, he just seems to be that guy that's
like a little like
never...
like he's constantly. He has to sound smarter than everybody in the room too. I noticed when he talks. Not a fun follow on Twitter. Unfortunately, I had to. He's a smart guy too. I mean, obviously, he's working in a big role with Immortals Gaming and all that. But man, annoying Twitter follow.
We're not though, so you should totally follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring. So there you go. There
for free stuff.
Yeah, and even retweet for a free giveaway. Get yourself a limited edition Chicago Huntsman T-shirt only at the Center Ring. Easy peasy. Speaking of Chicago Huntsman, we did have the CDL Chicago homestand this weekend, and of course it was online. It was not in Chicago. But we actually had some pretty good turnouts. So this was the big one, right? We talked about it 2 weeks ago after Dallas, where in this event you were going to have Empire, you're going to have Dallas, you're going to have Chicago, and you were going to have FaZe all at this tournament, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were 1, 2, and 3 going in.
Yeah, they were 1, 2, and 3 going in.
So I mean,
Atlanta might have been, or there might have been Atlanta. There might have been a big tie up at 3 or something like that, where I think there's a couple of teams tied. This has split them up, but yes, were all 3 there.
Right. So it was a big one. I mean, this was going to have implications going forward as far as how the table looks. And we'll get to the event later, because I got some beefs with this. CDL, you've had a while now to figure out your audio issues. Somehow you still have not figured this out. It was still a miserable watching experience for us at home. But as far as the game, I don't know, where did you want to start?
I mean, we could just kind of run through a couple of the different teams and how they perform.
Like, I feel like the big dogs are really the big talking points here.
And, I thought if we want to stay away from the big dogs for a second here, I thought Seattle rebounded really nicely in this tournament. They obviously went down 3-1 to Dallas, but they swept the Gorillas. Seems like that's kind of the norm for the Gorillas. They can't seem to pull off a lot of wins, although they beat Optic today or yesterday. But Seattle looked better to me.
Hold up. We have breaking news. Hazmat Pete, resident TCR COD fan and Chicago Huntsman homer, has made me aware on Twitch chat that Hex has liked our tweet.
You're lying.
We are behind enemy lines at this point.
I'm going to check right now.
We are behind enemy lines. If Hex is liking something from the center ring, then you know something has gone deeply, deeply wrong. So
I don't see it.
I don't either. Maybe he liked it and unliked it, which he totally has done before. Hex has definitely tweeted at us in a conversation, then deleted it. But Hex be Hex, right? Can't stop that. All right, so let's get back to the discussion, though. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Seattle rebounded.
Seattle. I thought they looked a little better in this tournament. They had been struggling. They still lost to FaZe, got knocked out 3-1 by them. But all those games to me were relatively close when they got knocked out earlier today. So again, nice little rebound for Seattle. But this tournament, Tim, was all about the big dogs. I mean, it really came down to what is Dallas going to do? How are FaZe and Chicago going to perform? I think Chicago, obviously getting off to the rough start was I didn't know if they were going to be able to rebound from it, honestly. I was a little nervous for him at that point because you've heard some of the issues that they've had with Formal. He's kind of like saying, I'm rejuvenated myself. That's never a good thing when there's 7 tournaments left in your season. We're not even halfway through.
And I don't buy that, right? Like,
no.
I don't know if this is a team that has to have the energy from the crowd to get hyped, right? But we are now seeing signs in the Chicago Huntsmen. I'm seeing the same signs in that roster, Nuge, that I saw in Optic towards the end, like towards the shaky grounds of the Optic roster. And this was even last season in CWL and when they were doing poor in World War II, right? When things aren't going well for Scump, for whatever roster he's on, I feel like it doesn't go well for any of them. Because
they're front runners. They don't handle adversity well.
Yes, because when now him and badass. Formal are the common denominator with these issues.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to paint everyone there with a broad brush, but, I mean, I think it's time we look at Scump and Formal and say, hey, you guys, like you said, do not handle losing well at all. And it just seems like when they start losing, the rumors start flying around Twitter and Reddit that, there's unhappiness with the roster. You have Arcides now calling out the roster saying, like, we have guys missing scrims or waking up late. And he's like, we're professional.
When you're working from home right now.
And I think he even said that, like, we're working from home as professional gamers and we're waking up late for scrims in the afternoon. Like, what a life that you're waking up late for work when your work starts at like 2 p.m.
Because half of them are up till like 4 in the morning playing Warzone. Not even like it's not like they're practicing their own craft at that point. I've seen more COD streamers probably playing Warzone than I do see them playing like MP at any point. At least they don't stream it that often. But yeah, I mean, for them, they don't seem to handle adversity well. Um, they have the ability to bounce back. Like I'm not ruling them out because they lost in the semis of a tournament. It's just you see these trends, and there's a reason Formal and Scump broke up originally. I wonder if it's brewing again. Like what's going
Mhm.
on behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
Well, it
Um,
also, and we are the media, quote unquote, Anuj. So it is part of our job to speculate and cause drama, right? It's just what we do. I have never seen a man get out of his seat so fast as we saw Formal today when they lost to Dallas.
just gone. I mean, he must have been gone with about 30 seconds left because that was a domination map that they were on. So they knew it was over.
You think he
with
just
about
left?
30 to 40 seconds. I'm pretty sure he just checked out. And
Like
was
he
like,
left
oh,
and was just moving his
he
controller a
just took
little
the
bit to not
controller with him,
AFK
but
out.
was gone for sure. Like he was not there the moment the match ended. So, yeah, it was actually funny because during the match, that same game, like I said, there's about 30 seconds left on hard point, and you saw Clay go AFK. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Clay goes AFK with about 30 seconds left in that match. At this point, again, knowing it's about to be a clean 3-0 sweep, the man pulled up a router picture on his phone and showed it to the stream as the match ended. And so, this is why we love him. Okay, that was a ballsy move. It was fun. It was obviously in like good joking, good taste. I thought it was funny. But these matches today were really the focal point because this is where we got into the final four. We had Atlanta take on again. We talked about Seattle. Seattle again played well. But FaZe, dude, like Simp is on another level. Like really, this dude is like playing a different game. It feels like he broke, I think, the kill record on Friday at 49 kills in I think it was a hard point match. And then today he drops a 50 bomb. He was like 50 and 31 on Azure Cave running around with an SMG. Again, you watch him with the sniper, you watch him, play the MP5. This dude can do it all. Like, I mean, he's really the perfect Call of Duty player. He's just so talented. And even if the team isn't necessarily having an outstanding game, this guy always seems to be performing. Now, granted, this team has performed well pretty much every event that they have been in, including this one.
Mm-hmm.
But Simp he's clearly the best player in the game right now. I don't even think there's any questioning who could be number one alongside of him.
No, I don't know who else you could, considering he's been consistent all season long too, right? I mean, even just to bring up Chicago again, where everyone thought they were going to be just dominating, especially like after like London, right? It was like, oh, all right, here we go. We know where this is going. Simp was kind of always carrying Atlanta for there, and yeah, it's just crazy to think they did a little special on him before the finals. Did you see that? Where it was like all the guys talking about him. Yeah, there was like a little special on him, and they were all saying like it's just insane when you think for how much people talk about him and for how many highlights this kid has. You think he's been playing in the leagues now forever, and yet he's only 19 years old, and this is his second professional season. Last year was his rookie year, and yet you talk about him like he's been here forever, like he's a Call of Duty legend. It's insane.
Because his rookie year, how many rookies can say they're rookie of the year, pretty much MVP of the league? You won 2 chips during that year, including the big one, right? You won Worlds, and then they also won another one earlier in the year. And so, like, it's just that's the name we've kind of heard for a year and a half almost in Call of Duty is like this 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid that is dominating the scene, and he hasn't slowed down. And like, even though Dallas won today, FaZe is still at like an 85% map win rate. I mean, they are completely dominating when they're playing. Like I was shocked actually. The Subliners was another team this weekend that we should probably give some credit to because they were able to take out Huntsman in their first match. They took it to a game 5 versus FaZe. That's a team that honestly, looking at it from the beginning of the year, we were like, oh gosh, like this team could be in some trouble the way they started off. And although they ended up losing to the Huntsmen again, like later on Saturday to be eliminated. They were able to take him out initially and took FaZe to a deep match. So, they played their hearts out over there. But yeah, FaZe sitting at an 85% win rate is like absurd. They're a team that's not going anywhere, even though they're currently in third in the standings. They're going to be right there at the end.
And a little disappointed with London because I felt, well, I don't know. I don't know if disappointed is the right word because in the start of the year, everyone had them kind of in the lower half of the league. And
They
then
started off so
they came
hot.
out so hot. I think people quickly adjusted their expectations for them, and now they've kind of come back to reality.
Because Wuskins was playing at such an incredible level. He was probably the only person that you could say was up there with Simp. And in a couple of the first CDL events, he was actually outperforming Simp in those tournaments. But if he seemed to have not fallen off, but he's taken a step back. Like he's not as dominant as he was in those first 2 or 3 events that he played in 2 events or whatever it was. And so that's going to hurt him a little bit. But you're right. Like at the beginning of the year, they were slated to be a middle to lower of the pack team, and there's still so much Call of Duty left that we'll see some of this kind of balance itself out the way maybe a lot of those projections would be. Again, with the top 3 still, I think consistently those 3 teams will stay at the top, right? Like Dallas, FaZe, Chicago will constantly be there.
Yeah, I think it, and I think after this, I look, your gut tells you Chicago will be there. Now, I'm seeing way too many signs that says there's also a possibility that it just doesn't get better. It just gets worse. Because it's just the body language. Again, Arcity's saying in interviews that they're showing up late and it's not professional. Formal piecing out before the round end screen even comes up. It's just that makes me, I would be a little worried if I was a Huntsman fan. Just a tad. The talent, your team is still there. Your team still is a top team in the league, but the attitude could be what affects you.
Assuming they don't tear themselves apart,
Yeah.
they're going to also be there at the end, right?
Right. It just depends
I
on
would
what's going on
100%.
behind closed doors, right?
If your expectations are this is a championship team, then I would be really worried right now because this is not how a championship team acts or performs, right? If you're saying like, will they be there at the end? Yeah, even with turmoil, they're still probably going to be there at the end because there's enough talented players on that roster for them to just get by versus the average teams, right? Even in this tournament, like we're dogging on them, but they were still there in the semis, right? Like they were right there until they went up against Dallas, and maybe this is where we talk about Dallas a little bit. But they ran into a juggernaut. Like Dallas was on another level this whole event. They really, starting against Optic, going up 3-1, you felt, although Optic not the toughest competition, they looked good in that game, right? I thought they had a little bit of an easier route until you kind of saw how Seattle had played in their first matchup, and Seattle had just came off of, I think Seattle just came off of who?
LA. Gladiators. Gorillas.
That's right. So, I mean, like, I think Dallas
Same
had a
org.
little bit of an easier route to start, but they had to finish, playing against the ultimately their biggest rival in Chicago, right? A team that's given them fits all year. In fact, Chicago had swept them earlier in the season. Chicago just kind of had their number, right? You saw it throughout the first 2 or 3 events that they were in together. We talked about it then because we were panicking, right? We were in panic mode to start
Right.
the year of, oh shit, here we go. Now they're in their head. How can they rebound from this? Call of Duty is such a feel game and emotions are high. And if you get tilted early in the season, it can snowball. But Dallas today, I mean, dude, what do you even say about them? Like, they were so good.
I think it's the kids, right? And it's what we said at the start of the season where, oh no, right? This is not looking good. They took a gamble on having two veterans in Crim Six and Clayster, and then they had the young guns with Shotzi, Hook, and Illy. Well, now we're seeing them be a lot more comfortable. And funny enough, I'm not saying online in the sense of connection has anything to do with this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to not having to travel and be in front of crowds and having that pressure and being out of your element, that might actually benefit a younger roster with the talent like Dallas, because now it's like they're in their own zone, right? They're not out of a comfort level. They're not seeing the crowd or hearing chirps or anything like that. So there might be some level of comfortability there.
There is a difference between playing on LAN and playing online. Like, it's in every esport. We know that.
Right.
There's a difference. Does it matter? No, because the points in this case are the same thing, right? It's not like they're reducing point totals for winning online. So in terms of what's on the line, that's still the same. It's everything to win these tournaments right now. You get so many points for being in the top two. It's like crucial that you make it there. But yeah, 100% agree with you. These kids look so much more comfortable. I mean, Shotzi and Illy, watching them play off of one another is a thing of beauty. These guys are so in sync and they just skate around the map, dude. Like, they are so smooth with their movement. It blows my mind that you can it's like when I watch a Counter-Strike player kind of B-hop and navigate their way around the map, and I'm like, man, he hit like 4 or 5 B-hops in a row. That's exactly how I feel watching these two guys. They are like cancel sliding across the whole map at a speed that I didn't even know you could like run in the game. You know, that I mean, it's like nonstop with them. And they seem to have found their groove of how to play off of one another and play comfortable, like play loose, play your style of game. I think early in the year when we saw Crimson Clay carrying, it's also part of it is like, hey, these are the guys we need to be following, right? Like, these are our veteran leadership, when really Clay and Crims are there to support you guys. Like, y'all need to be the carry and let them be your support players and hold down, like, make clutch plays, make smart calls, and play off of their knowledge. But you need Hook and Illy and Shotzi to be your carries. And that's exactly what they did this tournament. And that's how they kept up with even like a team like FaZe. You can't win against a team like FaZe if it's just Crims and Clay playing well. You need all five to be in tune. And in that finals matchup, man, it was something special. Like, they were very dominant. Even in the one game that they dropped, which was a search and destroy, that went to a map, map 11. It went to a final round. They took it the distance. So even in their one loss, they didn't come out of there feeling defeated like a 4-0, 5-0, or 6-1 finish in that. Is right there, 6-5. So a dominating performance by the young guns. Like, that was absolutely necessary for them to have a chance against Atlanta.
Yeah. No, and Atlanta was a favorite too going in, like, for the whole weekend. So it is going to be exciting. Now, looking at the next home series, it's Florida's home series, quote unquote.
Dallas is off for a month. Dallas does not play the whole month of May. They do not play again.
Whoa.
That's a long time. That's a really long break after coming off such a big win. Obviously, you think they'll stay fresh and stay sharp, but that's a long break for that team.
Yeah, I don't really like that from the schedule maker's point of view. Like, your team should never...
I wonder if part of this is like all jacked up because of this. Well,
no, because it's like the team's never shifted or anything like that. This is just the schedule. And in between that, you do have FaZe and Chicago playing a few times. Now, in 2 weeks for Florida, Chicago and Dallas are both out. In that, though, you have FaZe, Florida, obviously, and Minnesota. So, again, those are the three big teams there that you can see. Depending on how those results, again, the standings will flip again. Because right now, Dallas is in first. But if they're having a month off, that's why I think people need to not look at standings for now. When you have a team off for a month...
Placements are important, not necessarily the standings. What you need to be worried about is in the tournaments that you're playing, that you're placing well in those tournaments. Not, oh, where am I at today in the rankings? Because that's going to flip flop, like you said,
Yeah.
all year round. That's going to go back and forth. Dallas is going to fall to probably, honestly, 3 or so by the time they even play again, and they wouldn't have played a match and dropped a couple of slots.
Yeah.
Because you think FaZe is going to do well in the next tournament, especially without Chicago and Dallas there. But yeah, right now there's 5 teams in the running, Tim. 5 teams that look like they're in the running to compete for a championship, and everyone else is really kind of lingering behind. There's 5 teams at 100 points, and that's obviously Dallas sitting at 150, Chicago right behind them at 130, FaZe at 120, and then right there, Florida and Minnesota sitting at 100. And the drop off is down to 60 from 100 points. And that's the Paris Legion. From there, it drops to 40. So between 5 and 7, you're talking about a 60-point margin right now. Like, you can kind of see the playoffs setting themselves up with 7 weeks to go in this league. Like, you
Yeah.
almost know where a lot of these standings and what people will be fighting for is almost going to be that last slot.
Yeah, so it's shaping up to be a pretty exciting stretch here. Again, some people will say, well, it's online, who cares? I don't know.
The whole league is going to be online, though. What is it?
Play,
Like, at this
play
point,
with the cards
this
you're
is the
dealt.
league.
This is it.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, it's online. So, yes, expectations are curved a little bit, right? Take things with a grain of salt. Even Crim6 said in his interview, like, hey, yes, we beat them. People can say it's online, whatever. It doesn't matter. We beat them, right? This brings me to my next thing about the league. I don't know why, because Overwatch League is also online, and it's not that bad. ESL Pro League and all these are also done via remote, like they've done them before 100 times, like all remote. This is very difficult to watch. I know even Hazmat Pete brought it up in Twitch chat, like, was Crim6's interview awkward? No, I don't think he was uncomfortable. I think the interviewer was, Rich. He's weird in general, like even in-person interviews.
Crims wasn't making it easy for him in the interview either, though. Crims was very combative in that interview, but it was an awkward interview. Like, it felt very uncomfortable watching that interview because it almost felt like 2 people that just didn't like each other were talking, which I don't think is the case. Like, I think they probably are friends. With the amount
they probably
they
know
see
each other,
But it felt like it was just 2 people who really just didn't like each other were trying to have a civil conversation. But the talent has been surprising. I agree with you. Like, I actually really love the Call of Duty talent for the most part. Like, last year, I would have had no quams. Like, I know you have your issues with Maven in terms of just how energetic and loud he can be, like, at times, which is still 100% true. But overall, like, DeLuca and these guys, like, generally to me, they do a good job. I think they miss the environment more than anybody else. Like, being in the stadium, playing off of the fans.
DeLuca sounds like he's about to fall asleep in the
Depending
middle
on the
of
match,
call.
that's true. Depending on the match, that's very true.
That guy
him and
sounds like
Maven
he is
could not
so
be more
done.
opposite is the thing too, right? So you wonder if he also understands, like, man, if I'm talking, maybe I should keep it to this simple tone type voice, where when Maven's going, it's very eccentric. It's all over the place.
It's just, and even like the audio, like, so you'll have Maven's partner. What's his name? What's his actual?
DeLuca?
Well, DeLuca, yeah, that's his last
Joe?
name. What's his name?
I think it's Joe.
Joe, but I forget his in-game name, whatever it
Oh,
was.
I
don't know what it is. Anyways, Joe DeLuca is like, he's talking, he's very quiet. No, now we're going here. Oh, and here's Clayster. He's coming up the back, and what's going on here? And then you got Maven, and he's just talking like this the whole time. It's like, oh my God, it's like I'm turning up my speaker so I can hear DeLuca, and then it's like I'm going deaf because Maven just all of a sudden talking, so I got to turn that down. And I'm sure the audio guy or whoever's in charge of the stream is like, for the love of God, because obviously they don't have the full setup. Like a studio, that's okay because technology makes it to where audio gets compressed. So if some guy's yelling and the other guy's talking normal, it's not a big
Probably
deal.
a lot more manual work here in this one to do that.
God. And you can't even hear the game audio half the time, I feel like. That's all over the place. It's just, I don't get it. But from a viewer, like, the audio is about 50% of it, right? Like, kind of a big deal. I need to have that being an enjoyable experience also with visually. The timing is weird. Like you got people talking with hot mics when there's like clearly there's a miscue because there's like 5 seconds left in the stream every time before the countdown's up. And then you could hear them talking to the producer. So clearly whoever is running the stream is unmuting their mics 5 seconds before go time, which is normal. That is normal. Like I could tell you right now, you typically do that. But then like normally the person knows they're on a hot mic. Like I'm just waiting for the first N-bomb to drop in the CDL. Like it's bound to happen given esports' reputation. But
It's just a matter of time.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. All right. So that's it for CDL, right? You got nothing else?
No, yeah. I mean, do we know who got MVP?
I'm sure I can look it up right here real quick if you give me 2 seconds, but
Like just ended. I know, you guys are hearing this tomorrow. For us, we literally were waiting for this event to end to go live so we could
who do you think
discuss it with you guys.
who is your MVP?
Simp? I mean, if we're going off of the team, I mean, Shotzi played really well. It could be almost anyone on Fuel because I felt like they all
The
stayed
COD
fairly
Wikipedia
balanced.
does not have it updated.
COD Wikipedia is like not updated at all. I don't
COD
know. Just was
Esports
throwing it out there.
Gamepedia,
They
yeah, it's
didn't
not.
know.
If they did have it, I turned it off before they said anything. So, but
Yeah.
it's not on here. So, either way,
Overall, you know what? The only other gripe I have, Tim, is that they did fix the servers, which you're asking, Anuj, why is that? Why are you griping about that? It's annoying that they have the capability and the technology to have good servers.
like they just flipped a switch and said, "Here, you guys. Here are the better servers.
Well,
Our bad."
It didn't take long. It couldn't have been much more than flipping a switch because all it took was for Crim to put their asses on blast and talk about how shitty that experience was scrimming with these guys and what was going on last week and how that was going to carry over. And within 1 week's time, they were able to give them significantly better performing servers, according to Crim talking after the event was over, saying that it felt night and day better. Do this from the beginning.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Give us quality servers. Why are we playing on 12 tick rate, even as MP players, even as casuals? Why do I need to suffer through bad gameplay, bad server management for such a big company? And it bothers me even more that they implemented it in 1 week for the pro team. Do that for everybody. Fix your servers, get your shit right, and it's going to be a more enjoyable experience for your fan base.
Yeah.
Like, it's just Call of Duty is the one franchise, dude, that
It's Activision. It's all Call of
thank
Duty.
God they are on console, because this shit would not survive the PC world if it was a PC only game. Call of Duty is alive because it is a console game and there's not a ton of competition around them. But the way that they run it, from how long it takes to add a ranked system, pro league play, server stability, updates, like certain things just are such a hassle. It seems like I feel like we're bugging them.
Yeah.
And it's for basic stuff.
I mean, there's still not a ranked mode. It's
There's like
unbelievable.
pro league play or something, but it's not a ranked mode. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable that this has been going on for 10 plus years.
It's because they know they have the console fan base by the nuts, and they can't do anything about it. You feel bad for them too. I feel bad for the COD faithful because they deserve better. I know we get it, but we're not like, we get it casually and we play it for fun and whatever. But for those guys trying to grind it out year after year, I feel for you because that sucks. It sucks. Speaking of sucks, I'm going to say the Overwatch League management at this point, because I don't think they have a clue. So like you getting mad at Activision for all of a sudden randomly finding these magical servers that don't suck, we shouldn't hate on people for improving things. But I am going to hate on the Overwatch League because they have recently announced, after the matches today, a format update. We're switching this thing up again mid-season. I don't know what to do anymore. So they announced that for the month of May, which is obviously, next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting next week, we are going to have what they are calling the May tournament. Now, I don't know if this is going to be for every month going forward for the league. I don't know if this is going to affect the finals, if this is the finals and they're just calling it quits after May, I don't know. Typically the finals are around September time, August, September. Last year they were in September, so it just I don't know what's going on here. They don't have that type of information on the page or when they announced it. But either way, so Overwatch League now is ditching their league format, right? Just the 2 divisions, everyone playing, everyone blah blah blah. And now they're going to what they're calling the May tournament format. What is this, Anuj? Some Spark notes here for you. You can look it up on their website if you really want to read the full article. But they're splitting it up into 2 tournaments, the NA tournament and the Asian tournament. That makes sense because honestly, since, COVID happened and now we have to be home, a lot
There's
of
no
the
cross competition going on here across
there
across
isn't.
the world.
You just have the
It's just
Asian
not
teams
happening.
playing the Asian teams, obviously for connection reasons, and it's like, what can you do there, right? Like they're never going to be able to play people in the States and have it be legit. There's no way. So that makes sense. It's always, since this quarantine has started, it has felt like 2 different leagues anyways. Like, because they play at like 3 a.m. So I haven't even seen
It feels
Asian...
more like a League of Legends setup right now.
Yeah, it really does, yeah. So I haven't seen an Asian Overwatch team pretty much all year. So now you're going to have these 2 tournaments that start up. For the first 3 weeks of May, they will be the pool play. Everyone plays everyone, round robin style, I believe. And then the last week of May, you will go into a tournament bracket where seeds, you'll have 1 play-in on the NA side. Now, this is different because Asia only has so many teams compared to NA. They don't have nearly the amount of teams. So now you have the teams go into a tournament format, and then you just play it out, and you'll have a winner, you'll have losers, and everything there is like what we're familiar about.
So just a timeout from right there. So without giving any more information, because there's a ton to get to on this, right? This is just the start of the changes that we're about to hear about. I'm okay with it until this point right now. Okay, so like what they're doing, I understand that, hey, we can't run our league the way that we want to run it with these different divisions, with teams spread out the way they are. That's not possible. So we need to find another solution to play through the league.
Yeah.
That's fun, suitable, works for everybody. This is very similar to what League of Legends does. This is very similar to how ESL Pro League is being run right now with the NA and EU League type situation. So I like it about until this point. Like I'm very much okay with, hey, we need to scrap the way we're doing this. Let's figure out another solution. I think they made other flawed changes.
Right. I don't hate the idea too if they just continue going forward like the COD style, right? Where you have
it says at the end, like, we'll be evaluating similar competition structures for the remainder of the regular season. So there is a chance that each month we just see another tournament type.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they've also seen that because, I mean, let's face it, it's just the way we're wired for esports, right? We need tournaments. We need winners and losers faster than a 6-month span like traditional sports have, right?
Yeah.
We just, as esports fans, I've come to terms with I don't have the attention span for a 6-month esport season. Now there's a middle ground because like ESL is way too short with like a month, right? That's ridiculous to call that a season. So there needs to be middle ground. If you treat it almost like, I think like tennis where you have tournaments, like CDL is very similar. You have tournaments placed throughout the year, and where you place within that tournament gets you points. Like F1 racing, right? You have so many races, and then in the race you get so many points based off of where you finish. So it's not just an ultimate you win. It's, hey, you earned points, right?
I like coming out of a weekend knowing that what I watched was very meaningful in that moment.
Well, and it's exciting too to have the, like, I think ideally
the Sunday night championship Sunday is like a nice thing to have.
Ideally, you would have every team in on one weekend. That way, you know, you don't have this awkward like how we're about to see the Empire just tank in the standings, but it's because they don't play for a month. Ideally, you would want everything. And hey, Blizzard, Activision, you can have this advice for free because I know you guys listen to the show. All right, do this. All right, switch both leagues to where every team plays every weekend. All right. I get, you know, I want you want the home and away, so you can figure that out. But then you flip flop them. Okay. Overwatch one weekend, CDL the next weekend. Overwatch, CDL. Overwatch, CDL. Ain't that a novel idea where I don't have to have both of your competing leagues under the same company on at the same time? Earlier today, we had the Fuel and Empire playing at the same time. So I won't get into that right now.
Both were like big matches because the Fuel were going up against Houston, and it's like you don't want to miss that.
No.
And no way in hell I'm turning off what's going on over there in CDL.
Yeah. So it's just there's an idea for you, right? You do this tournament format. I think a lot of more people will get excited for it because you, like you said, you can have your championship Sunday every other week. Are you kidding? And then you filter it in for your big world tournament finals where you have both the Asians and the top Asian and the top NA teams competing in the finals somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Right? You could pick apart from how League does it, how F1 racing, how tennis, how you got it going in CDL. Just take little pieces from everything and figure it out. There's better ways to do this. I feel like Activision and Blizzard were trying to force their way in with how they did these leagues and said, no, this worldwide league will work. It's going to work the way we want it to work. And it just never did. It never, especially once the home and away.
It's just so different than everything else we're used to in esports that, especially, and it's even a tougher sell when it's Overwatch as the game, right? Like maybe if a Counter-Strike or a League of Legends or somebody tried a 4 or 5 month league, that would be a little bit more successful. But right now we're trying to just keep people interested, right?
Right.
And so if you're having to wait for a season to play out to really drive up viewership and wait for playoffs, like that's probably not going to work out so well in the long run. This to me is a better overall format and something that they should, I think, consider going forward. Again, I liked what they were trying at the beginning, but it hasn't worked for me, unfortunately. Like it hasn't drawn me into care about the regular season of Overwatch at all. Like I'm so disinterested in the regular season. It kind of worries me, right? Like it really does. Like as an Overwatch fan, like it worries me how much I don't care about the regular season.
But if you had, as a casual fan, a championship every other weekend,
I'm going to tune in.
That changes things completely. It
100%.
changes things completely. If all I have to do is worry about one little tournament every other week that filtered in and you had a storyline? When was the last time we had storylines in the Overwatch League? So
just like when they were doing it last year, even last year, I only really cared about the
playoffs and the finals.
The playoffs that they did, and like also like the midseason, those midseason.
Well, yeah, because there you had stage playoffs and stuff.
But it felt like there was something on the line, so I wanted to watch a stage playoff. But I didn't care about anything leading up to the stage playoff. It was the stage playoffs here. I'm going to watch this, So
yeah,
again, up until this point so far, I'm okay with the changes that they've made. These weren't the worrisome changes. There were some other things that you're probably going to get into here in a second that I do take issue with.
Yes. So this is where it kind of becomes a shit show, right? So we're switching up the format. Hey, that's all right. It's whatever, right? We've been there, done that 1,000 times with the Overwatch League, where format changes mid-season. You got rule changes mid-season, whatever. 3 weeks of the season are played with no hero pools. Then you add hero pools. Well, now we get into the weeds of it. So here are some other shared tournament rules. Hero pools will be suspended for tournament matches. All heroes will be available.
To me, that's terrible. That is the worst idea. They could have done this as a round by round thing. And each round, you change the hero pool up, right? So that way, everybody in that same round is using the same hero pool that's being, banned for that week. The hero pool is the one thing that I thought was a good idea going into the year. I was like, okay, this is kind of a nice change. This could cause different players to come into play, different play styles to be shown, really try and highlight different aspects of the game other than kind of what we've been seeing for the past year or so of Overwatch. To take it out so soon after you implemented it, I don't understand the logic in that. I really don't get it because there was an easy solution here, and it was just do hero bans by stage, right? So round one, this is the hero ban. Round 2, this is the hero band. And hey, to make it like fair, maybe you do a random draw live and have it set for each stage so teams can see what is ahead of them. Like this week, May is banned. Next week, Mercy and
Yeah.
Reaper are banned, and you can see all of that laid out. And again, that draws up a little hype. But to just say no, we're not doing it. I don't even get it. I really don't get the logic behind zapping it out completely of your tournament when it just came in.
You just
It
hyped it
just
up.
came in.
You just hyped it up, and it's still going on in the normal game, right? So now you have this hyped up mechanic on one side of your game, and in the professional scene, you're taking it out completely. I don't understand that. And so now you have it to where the first chunk of your season was without this. You decided then to add it, even though all off season long, people were saying you should do hero pools, you should do hero rotations, you should do hero bans. Blizzard, no, 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 no. Okay, we'll start this a month into the season. Whatever, fine, cool, thanks, you got it. And now we're going more and more into the season, and they go, we're going to switch up the format, and we're taking away hero pools again. Like, what are these pros supposed to do? And you know what? They all are going to say with a smile on their face, well, every team's got to go through it, and we're just going to play our best. You got to win either way. You got to win, and that's what it's about.
Overwatch has good PR departments and coaching their players.
Yes. Like, give me a break. I'll speak for the players. This is a mess. Like, we wonder why guys and the top players constantly retire out of the Overwatch League. Could you imagine?
It's frustrating because they have a lot of other worries in the back of their mind already, and now you're making a game that they're already concerned about. You're making these massive changes to your gameplay, how these rosters should be being set up. Like, people could be, at this point, they could have been looking at players to add, right? Like, oh, well, we need to add another DPS slot guy, or we need another flex support person on our team because of how these hero bans have kind of played out. And it's like, it reminds me of I don't know if you watch The Office, but
Yeah.
Snip Snap. Does that make sense? Snip, bring it back.
Yeah.
He's talking about his cutting the boys there.
Yep.
It's like you take it, you give it back. You take it, you give it back. And it does, to me, that doesn't make sense, because that was just an unnecessary change. Because had they just said hero pools are still in play, nobody would have batted an eye. They'd been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Right.
you just implemented it. Of course they're still in play. But instead you pull it out, and now it gives us a talking point, right?
Yeah.
Now it gives me something to be annoyed about. Like, why did you do it? So yeah, I can't imagine what the teams are thinking. I'm sure the players are annoyed with it. They're going to say the right things. They're not going to voice their opinions. That they're not opinionated individuals for the most part in Overwatch League. But I'll tell you, that shit's got to be frustrating to see that. And probably takes a little bit of that excitement that did build up. You just pull that away. Hopefully the tournament is enough to keep them, heavily interested. I'm sure it will be. There's money on the line, so that obviously helps. But again, just a dumb change. I mean, I just think it was a bad change to make.
Yeah, and there, like you said, there is money on the line. So the champions will get 40,000, second place 20, third and fourth 5,000, and each tournament win per team is 5,000 in additional placement prizing. So there is some money in there just to get the players involved. So for those who did the math, both tournaments have a combined $225,000 prize pool. I don't really know if that's necessarily fair when Asia has like a quarter of the teams, but it is. They literally have like half the team. So
give them Vancouver back.
Yeah. So looking at these divisions here, and this also kind of sucks for some of these cities. So in Asia, you have the Hunters, the Charge, Spark, that all makes sense. The Dragons and the Dynasty all make sense. But obviously, some of these teams, of course, moved back home with everything going on in the world. So now you have the London Spitfires in Asia and New York. That kind of sucks if you're a New York fan, considering the earliest you are playing is either 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. Those are when the Asian games are.
Yeah, you're not watching your team if you're a New York fan, for sure.
But that's some weekends you get 8
when
a.m.
I saw New York on the list, I was like, well, why didn't you just let Vancouver stay over there? Because Vancouver just released a statement. saying that, yeah, we are bringing our players back, due to the event. And so it looks like the Vancouver team, who just bitched and moaned about wanting to go back home.
And that's been like a weird thing too, because like the players
I shouldn't say they bitched and moaned. They wanted to go back home, which makes sense.
they like the players like removed the team from Twitter. I mean, that was a weird mess. Like no one thought, or some people thought they were completely dropping the org in general.
Which hasn't been like clarified why all that happened, right? Do we know why they took the names out of their?
No, I mean, I
profiles?
don't know. I didn't see anything on that unless I just
It's
missed
probably
it.
because they got word that we're flying you back to Vancouver to play online matches for
Yeah,
for
you don't
us.
have a choice, bud.
Well, again, why does New York get us play in the Asia? It just would have made sense because right now there's 13 North American teams.
I know.
And there's 7 teams in
Does
the
that
Asian market.
does that
are
not
playing.
piss you off? You have 13 and 7. If you just moved one over, I don't know, maybe the team that flew home to Korea, if you just would have let them stay, you would have had even teams. That drives me nuts.
It wouldn't. Well, it would have been 12 and 8, right? But you still would have had you had an even number. You're saying, right?
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Not
you would
like
have you would have had an even number of teams instead of 7. So now you have this one play-in qualifier for North America, and it sucks because now that one team is completely eliminated from any sort of financial gain if you lose that play-in game. So you are not going to get a dime if you're one of the NA teams. But hey, if you're one of the Asian teams, like probably
free
got
money at this
semi-decent
point.
payday coming regardless.
Yeah, you just got free money. Yeah, so I like again. I it sounds like we're bitching about this. I am actually excited. Like I will like this gets me going now. Like I can, you have a month.
We like the format.
Yeah, I love the format. I love the idea. Like I said, I hope they go through with it with some tweaks for the remaining of the season and even next season. I love it. Like I said, I think if you're the Overwatch League, you got to still have, and they are going to still have their playoffs and finals and everything like that. But I do love the fact that now it's like,
Call of Duty style. They basically went to a Call of Duty style is what they, except every team is playing obviously in 2 different tournaments, but same setup where, if you can generate some points off of this and you make it to a finals tournament at the end of the year, man, I'm sold. That to me, that's a much better overall setup.
Yep.
The hero bans is the one thing that I look at. Hero bans and the split of the teams, the way it ended up working out, are both
almost makes you wish they just, from the very get-go, they can't really do it now to be fair, but from the get-go, you wish they would have made the buy-in for Overwatch League a lot less so more teams could get in, and then they just did a really big worldwide league, like even bigger from the start, right? And then you just had 2 divisions through the world, or maybe 3, right? You had Europe, Asia, and NA, and then you met up for a big tournament at the end of the year, right? Almost like how League does it, how they have like their separate divisions throughout the regions. But
well, the way they're making changes, it could be significantly cheaper in a year or 2.
Yeah, could be that way. So either way, so there's some Overwatch League news for you. It's going to be different in May. I think for the better. I don't know how Overwatch League faithfuls feel about it, but I think it's for the best. I think for the casual fan, I think it's going to get us a little bit more excited with every match having something on the line, as opposed to...
We'll forget about the hero pool stuff pretty early on to these events, right? It's annoying when you see that up front that they could have easily left it in.
It's just another mid-season change that, for whatever reason, we can't get away from with the Overwatch League. They're constantly doing these league-altering changes in the middle of the year. It's just...
What's the meta gonna go to now with there being no cap on who you can play?
I don't know. It will be somewhat interesting because you don't know, is it going to go back to exactly the way it was before? Because now you're going to have Echo, right?
Yeah.
Which completely, I mean, we haven't seen her because she was banned this week. That could have been a yikes. I guess that is a yikes of the week, is that the first week your new hero in your game is playable, she gets banned. So
Rig the effing system.
Maybe
like
that's-
everybody else does.
maybe
Come
that's why
on
they
now.
said we can't do hero bans, because it's like we can't have our brand new hero banned the first week. So
Tim, you're telling me they couldn't have just changed the
Oh, they-
freaking name on the card?
they could have just not put her name in there. Like, come on. That really should have been what they did, but they didn't, and she was banned this week. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting. It will be interesting because you don't know if the players maybe having certain ones banned, like they've learned, like, oh, we actually like this setup more now or something. But
Echo will definitely be in the mix. 100%.
oh, because she looks absolutely ridiculous.
She's very overpowered at the moment.
Yes. So in a pro's hand, oh yeah, it's gonna be. She will make it a lot more exciting, to see her being used with a pro. But either way, so that's starting next week. Like we're in it. Like they did not have
You
any
can go
grace
see
period.
all the times. They put the times up for you. It's very nicely laid out.
Yeah, I mean it is go
starting May
time for
2nd,
tournament play.
You will have a lot of Overwatch to watch that
Yeah.
next 15 days.
Yep, it is going. All right, let's get into some e-news here real quick. In the CSGO, we have a little bit of Road to Rio update for you, just some performances here. FaZe and
Movie star writers, Tim.
I've heard of them before because
Mixwell was on that team.
Mixwell
for a
was on
while.
that team. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. Honestly, I thought they disbanded once he left.
No, they're actually in a pretty good position right now, sitting at 2-0, along with FaZe after this week's games. It's surprising. I mean, most people couldn't tell you one or two players even on the team. I think FaZe had a good weekend. They played well. They managed to take out G2, which I think was probably the game of the week. Both of those matches were incredibly
Overtime,
close.
both.
Mouse,
don't remind me though.
obviously,
I did terrible on my bets. I had the FaZe and G2 match going to map 3. That's all they had to do. Just
you almost had that. I mean,
I had the over under
couldn't have
and I
been
had
any
it over
closer.
2.5. And then for Mouse, I had them covering. I think all they had to do was cover against whoever they lost to second. I forget.
played
North.
second.
All they had to do was cover. And they couldn't do that.
North are one of those teams that'll just kill you, dude, because all of a sudden KRB goes off. For
Well,
like
it's Mouse
35
too,
kills,
though.
And it's like, what are
Like
you supposed to do?
friends don't let friends bet on Mouse sports.
Hey, look, we talked about Fnatic last week in the same light, right? Like Fnatic's that team that'll drive you crazy, and they come out losing 0-2 to Ents. And what do they do in their next matchup, Tim? They beat Astralis 2-1. It just blows your mind to watch it. It was a wonderful game. I mean, they played really well, but it drives you crazy. Like, it just drives you crazy. Complexity hasn't had an easy go of it. Obviously, they played Astralis. We talked about that last week. This week, they played Vitality, dropped that 2-1, so they're sitting at 0-2. The only other one that I really want to mention, we did have weirdest. We will give this could have been a yikes of the week too, dude. Nip and Dignitas. That bothered me so much to watch that game, to see the core of Nip for my duration of watching CSGO, playing under Dignitas and playing against Nip with all the young guns. Nip dominated them. It was not even close. I think it was like 16-9, 16-4, if I'm not mistaken. Knock actually had a 6K in a round, and you ask Anuj, how does a 6K happen? Well, he twitched over to one of his teammates' head in the middle of the round that popped out when he thought it was an opposing player, aced the round, and killed his teammate at the same time. So, but yeah, Knock and Nip overall just looked really good. They beat Fnatic last week. This week they beat Dignitas. So again, for themselves, they're sitting in a pretty good spot there.
I feel bad for Dig.
That lineup, unfortunately,
Doesn't
last very long.
It's what we thought it was, though, right? That's the shitty thing about it, is that they pick them up and everyone's super excited because of the memories and it feels good inside, and then you're like, oh, it broke up for a reason.
Nip wouldn't have let him go if they were all good together.
Yeah, it broke up for a reason.
It's bad. It's really bad right now.
It's not going great. Not going great. But hey, they can market the hell out of it. So there you go. In Overwatch, Fran is hosting her own Overwatch Community Cup, the Fran Overwatch Community Cup. There you go. That starts May 2nd with a $3,000 prize pool. Already announced that Orisa, May, and Brigitte are banned.
Love it. Love it.
She's like,
What?
F that, they're gone.
No, that's
That's
it's
the way
her
to do
their tournament. I completely agree. That is a great
And
move.
good for Fran for doing this, especially like given weeks after the community pretty much shit on her for being a woman. So good for that. For whatever reason, the Overwatch community is very fickle. It's like they're not that big, and maybe that's why. Maybe there's some insecurity in there, right? Because like Overwatch is kind of always the butt end of every joke in esports. And yet Fran goes on, her team wins this other tournament. And it was like a friendly tournament. It wasn't even like a competitive, it was like a mixture of amateurs and pros and whatever. Well, her team wins and people are giving her shit because she's a chick. It's like, if there's one competitive nature sport out there that shouldn't matter, it's esports. Yet we find a way to bring it up. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, she's a smoke show. You could say that. But that has nothing to do with her play. So I don't, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. But good for her. What I'm trying to say is, Overwatch community, how about you not try to drive out one of the heaviest influencers you got?
Go support her. Why don't you go watch this?
You should probably go support her. In the Overwatch League, we mentioned it earlier, that Fuel defeated Houston for the Battle of Texas 3-2.
Envy had a good weekend.
Good weekend, yeah, for Envy. Hell of a weekend. Got a Rocket League too, which we'll get to in a second. But this is nuts. Oh, man, we didn't even bring this up in CDL. So I'll bring it up after this. But Florida Mayhem broke a new record. They set the record for the fastest win ever in the Overwatch League as they defeated Boston. And now this is in-game time. Obviously, you don't count the breaks and things like that. 24 minutes and 9 seconds.
Like, did they just hold W?
That's going 3-0.
I don't even.
That is less than 10 minutes a map.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes a map. They're doing it faster than most people run miles.
I mean,
like they're.
How is that
that's
possible?
incredible.
Like,
Boston really sucked. So, like, they were not paying attention.
like at
all.
what point, if you're Boston, you're like, just delay it a little bit, right? Like, guys, like that is all. Like, it's equally as impressive that Florida did it, that Boston sucked that fast.
Yeah, it's incredible. 8 minutes a game on average, like your average pace. That is very fast for a pro match. I mean, these are not like they're playing some amateurs here.
I mean, even if you're just pugging and getting rolled, typically that is not 8. I don't think I've ever had an 8-minute match.
They're all dying individually and then just keep coming back and dying.
Yeah,
and it's just a vicious cycle of.
I would
you
love
never
to hear the
having
team
all
comms
five
in
in.
that Boston match. Like, investigate that for throwing, no doubt. And in Call of Duty, we actually had some history made, as the record for most kills was broken twice by Simp in one weekend.
You missed me saying that, Tim. I'm disappointed.
Did you say that?
Yeah, you don't listen to me ever.
I don't. I would have retorted to it then.
Yeah.
I was probably
yeah.
trying to look for this hex
But hey,
tweet.
it's a good one to throw out there, so let them know what happened, just in case they missed
So
it.
Simp, yeah, if you also weren't paying attention earlier, like myself, Simp broke the record for kills twice with 50.
Twice.
So there you go.
That's pretty dominating.
Yeah, in a pro match,
able to do
it's pretty ridiculous.
Doing it twice in one weekend, you're
Feeling
in
pretty good.
company.
Feeling pretty good. Fortnite announced that they will have a Fortnite Championship Series Invitational. They hit the key word, the word of the day, Invitational, with a $2 million prize pool. Now, you can also qualify for this. It's an invitational because they are inviting some people, but it's not 100% invite. So if you're still an 8-year-old playing Fortnite, there you go.
You know, at this point for Fortnite, the only thing that makes it interesting at a high level is if they just make these absurd prize pools.
Yeah.
It's really it.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what
Like-
got them on the map to begin with, right? Is that they announced that their prize
I mean,
pool
the
was
Fortnite
ridiculous.
World Cup, yes, like the prize pool was obviously a shocking part of it, but the game still had like this crazy freaking hype train running behind it. So it was going to almost kind of be big anyway, the way they did it. But like now, I don't even know what they do to keep the hype competitively alive, right? They did this whole do you see I think it was ASAP Rocky, right?
No, Travis Scott.
No. Travis Scott. I forgot who it was. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't actually
Man.
watch it. Did you watch it? But I did go back and see some of
just
the
think
VOD
they
for
all
a
look
few
the same.
minutes. Damn, Tim, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Now 0 days since it's been said. But yeah, I mean, like that
can
was
say that.
actually
I can't.
badass. Like that was cool. They did the whole like Astro World kind of thing or whatever.
Oh, that was badass. I'm upset. So like I knew it was happening, but I don't have Fortnite installed, and I was like, ooh, I like Travis Scott, and I've seen him in concert in real life. I kind of want to download this, but I definitely don't want to download Fortnite. And then I saw the replay of it, and I'm like, damn.
pretty neat looking. I went to the marshmallow one that they did last year.
We did that one,
and that was pretty cool.
but that was nothing compared to this.
That's how they keep themselves pretty relevant, is shit like that, though. That's what gets talked about, not so much like the competitive
No.
side of the game anymore.
Listen,
I don't think it ever will be. Like, I really don't think it'll ever.
Nate Nanzer has the most cush job ever. He left being commissioner of the Overwatch League, which is clearly just a mess, and goes to do esports for Fortnite, where it's like he's announced $2 million tournament since he's been there. Like
he's doing nothing with the esports for it.
He just has
there's
his-
no long term.
Yeah, he just has
Their
his
plan is
feet
just let's just
kicked
keep
up.
making money, boys.
Yeah.
Like, keep releasing skins,
And they
keep
don't
making
care.
money.
As long as he can be quiet and let them sign billion-dollar deals, they're not going to bother him. So
No.
GG on that. In Valorant, the G2 Invitational, he said Invitational. Invitational starts tomorrow. Have some notable team captains. I saw Smiths was captaining. He's a captain for one. Obviously, Carlos will be one. Did I see Scream or Shocks?
Scream
Which one
is
did I
a
see?
captain. I don't really know a lot of these other guys.
Those were the only ones I recognized offhand.
But yeah, Scream, Smits, Carlos. I'm telling you, this whole Mixwell thing is not going to be a rumor much longer. You heard it here first. Don't forget, I'm going to remind you all again. Mixwell will sign.
Mixwell is either going to sign G2 Valorant or a CSGO team. Probably, per my sources, maybe Envy.
He has not turned on Counter-Strike since Valorant's come out. He is only
He's seeing like phone
exclusively
calls from
streamed.
Counter-Strike teams, and he's just like ignoring.
Ignore.
We're done
I would
here.
love to see Mixwell in Counter-Strike, and I would love to see him on a good team.
You know, it's funny because there
Unlikely
are a
that
lot
that
of good
happens.
Counter-Strike free agents out there. Even the guys who are on Orgless right now, like any one of those guys you could probably pick up. If you're a Counter-Strike team looking to improve, your biggest competitor is not another org. It's Valorant. It's an
100%.
entirely different game now that they might actually turn you down for. So it's just, and speaking of perfect examples, in Fragadelphia, Mouse Spaz is how I'd say that, wins their, I think, second tournament from what I've noticed. But of course, you're like, who the hell is that? I'll tell you. Some pretty recognizable signatures. You got Cutler, Hayes, Wardell, Sub Rosa, and Drone.
There's gonna be some younger listeners here that are like, wait, Cutler, Hayes, like who are those? Like these guys were like really big on CLG at one point.
So you know what's funny
and-
is that this comes up is I actually was going to text you is that we should do like a YouTube special of like where are they now? CLG Counter-Strike. That used to be like a dominating org in Counter-Strike. Like
very good org.
like number 1 or 2 NACS was CLG.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Like,
Like them
consistently one
and
of the
Liquid
best.
and C9, it was like the trifecta of NACS. And
Yeah.
then after, I remember Columbus, when I was in Columbus for the major, I met them. And then after that, they're gone. Vanished.
It's not even like they had like a rebirth, except for FNS. Kind of found a way to stay relevant here and there, but the rest of them, I mean, like
And JDM, I think, was still on CLG at that point in time.
Yeah, and the JDM, like Went.
Liquid. He had an okay time
Yeah.
at Liquid, and then Envy just never really took off. But again, though, just the weird. I mean, they were it's just a high skill level. Now you're finding them dominating in Valorant. So there you go. But yeah, so congratulations. I actually think they're playing right now as we speak, a Nerd Street tournament also in like the losers final dominating. So there you go. In FGC, Le'Veon Bell, running back of the Jets still, I believe,
Yeah.
unless things have changed, is going to host a Smash Ultimate tournament alongside HBox, Hungrybox. This will be online. Now, HBox has been doing this pretty much all quarantine, but he's been hosting tournaments online with $10,000 prize pool. This time, Le'Veon Bell is getting involved. Random as hell, but
Le'Veon Bell should double that prize pool. Come on now.
$10,000 with
Make it a
Le'Veon Bell.
20K prize
a week.
pool, and that'll be the biggest tournament of the year for Smash.
And it's weird, and I know the Smash community is actually a little salty on these because so far, like, there has been more money going to online Smash tournaments than actual Smash local tournaments. Like, so they're like, we're getting all this support, but it's for online, which, you know, it's not the worst, but obviously for Smash, I mean, there's no comparing it to local. Like, it's just, the game is not meant to be online, and Nintendo doesn't really give it that great of an infrastructure online to begin with. So, but it kind of sucks because what are you going to do, right? It's just kind of the way it is right now. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. And randomly, the most random thing ever, but FaZe apparently now partners with the NFL.
How the hell did that happen? I saw Banks in a commercial for the NFL, and I was like, no, they don't know who he is.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Did they pull this off? Good for them, dude. It's a huge partnership. T-shirt is butt ugly.
I don't
Looks like
get that, dude.
Like, why did they go with this 1980 like NFL? It looks like if NBA Jam was an NFL game, like Blitz, NFL Blitz. That was the game, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
They just
That's what this
slapped.
T-shirt looks
They
like.
slapped every NFL team logo and then FaZe. It was like
with like two lightning bolts or something.
There was absolutely no creative process with this shirt. It's just.
It's like they signed the deal a day before the draft, and they were like, "Oh, let's put
stickers.
this out tomorrow."
Like they had a sticker book, and that's all they had to do was design. It was very weird, but I mean, I guess good for FaZe, right? Or maybe good for the NFL. Who knows? Who knows where that who helps who out there? And Envy signs former Ghost Gaming's Rocket League roster. So now Envy is back into Rocket League.
It's a good game for them to be in. Like that, it's such a popular game, such an easy game to have a presence in. If you can go get a good roster, they managed to do that. So that's good for them.
Yeah, I think Rocket League. We've even said it on the show. Like that would be just a fun game to own a team.
I'm surprised like all big orgs don't have a team in Rocket League.
It's 3 dudes. The schedule is very simple. A lot of dev support. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know cost. Like, I don't know profit or anything like that. So maybe there's something there that we don't know. But from an outsider's point of view, it seems very simple.
If Envy is jumping in, there's money to be made.
Yeah, that is very true. They're not playing anything that doesn't make money. So, which I don't think many orgs would. But hey, everyone's got their favorites that they're willing to lose something on. So, anyways, exciting for them. Yes,
this is why Tim has me on this show, because we do have a couple more updates here.
Oh man,
we have Smash Brothers episode 5 through 9. We're going to cover that next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So make sure to watch that so we can all go over our book report together, give our final thoughts. We will definitely recap that. It has been awesome so far. Like I've really enjoyed it. Really glad we're doing this one, but we're going to finish it up. Episodes 5 through 9 is what we're going to discuss on Wednesday. And then also newly formed rivalry between the Center Ring and Free to Play esports podcast for ESPN Dallas. We'll be doing a head-to-head Valorant matchup. We are tentatively set for next Saturday, Probably going to start around 8 p.m. Central is what we're targeting. But we'll do like best of 3, best of 5 or something between us. Have some fun sort of prize towards the end for the winning team there. But that'll just be a head-to-head, and feel free to obviously tune in and
We're trying to
support your
find
favorite
casters.
podcast.
We're trying to find casters for it too. If you're a listener and you're just happen to also maybe wanting to try out casting or get involved, hit us up, whether it be on Twitter or in Discord, and we can definitely discuss the possibility there. Because, like Anuj said, it's between us. Kevin, he's been on the show, ESPN Dallas, and everything there. It's between us and a group of his friends. So, if you wanted to cast it, if you want to dip your toes in that water, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, this is not gonna be anything hardcore, guys. So if it's something that
No.
you just wanted to do, want to add it to your portfolio, great opportunity to do that, because we have very low expectations of you.
I mean, extremely low. And
Extremely,
it's probably going to be a
extremely low.
sweep. Like, I have a feeling we are going to dominate.
It's gonna be an easy clap 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing a best of 5 just to make sure y'all have enough content.
It's really, I won't lie, when I said, because you guys were like, best of 3. And I'm like, that's going to be like the 2-0. I mean, we're going to be
Kevin,
the Florida
I know you're
Mayhem.
listening. We know you're listening right now. So just use that as motivation. Put that on your wall.
It's going to be the Florida Mayhem versus Boston Uprising 2.0. We're just going to slap them cheeks. Like, it's
24 minutes in, game over.
yeah, it's going to be the fastest Valorant game in history. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that for sure. So that next Saturday, we'll have more details, though, on Wednesday for sure.
Yep.
So that will do it for this episode of The Center Ring. It's episode 233. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Again, doing a giveaway on Twitter. So at The Center Ring, you follow us, you follow at Ultimate, and you retweet our tweet about the giveaway. You will have a chance to earn a limited edition Chicago Huntsman Goat tee. They got a white one, a black one. They're very, very clean looking. And that's coming from me. So if I'm saying anything nice about Chicago, you know it's got to look good. Got to look good. We will be back Wednesday, like Anuj said, reviewing the rest of the Smash Brothers documentary. So please check that out and join us. I think that's it. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya.